Dear readers, imagine a version of yourself unburdened by past limitations, a self no longer trapped by the echoes of doubt, the chains of regret, or the weight of old wounds. Imagine a body that feels vibrant, alive, an instrument of strength and resilience. Imagine a soul that is fully awakened, untangled from fear, and illuminated by purpose. What if I told you that this vision is not a distant fantasy, but a possibility that lies dormant within you, waiting to be awakened? In a world that conditions us to live in fragments, where the body and the soul are treated as strangers, we often lose sight of our wholeness. We lose sight of the boundless potential we possess to heal, to grow, to transcend. Yet here, in the pages of Deepak Chopra's Reinventing the Body, Resurrecting the Soul, lies a path, a guide to reunite what has been divided, to reclaim what has been forgotten. This is not merely a book. It is a journey, a revelation, a call to revolutionize the way we see ourselves. Chopra challenges us to break free from the limiting narratives we've absorbed, the beliefs that our bodies must decline, that our souls are detached, that our minds are powerless. He dares us to believe that the body is not a mere vessel, but a field of energy that responds to the thoughts we feed it. He invites us to see the soul not as a distant abstraction, but as the very essence that breathes life into who we are. Are you willing to step into this journey? To confront the shadows that have haunted your mind and the pains that have dwelled in your body? Are you ready to resurrect the forgotten parts of yourself, to create a new you that radiates with the power of possibility? If you are, then listen closely, because this is more than just wisdom. It is a transformation waiting to happen. The answers you seek are not beyond you. They are within you, waiting to be heard. This book, this guide, is not about changing who you are. It's about reclaiming who you have always been, in all your brilliance, strength, and divinity. Part 1. Awakening the Body's Wisdom. Chapter 1. Your body is not a thing, it is a process. Do you see yourself as a mere structure of flesh and bones, fixed and finite? Chopra challenges this notion. He tells us that the body is not a static object, it is a dynamic process. Every cell in our body is alive, communicating, adapting, and evolving. Our bodies are not simply a collection of organs. They are a vast, interconnected community of intelligent cells. Cells that listen, respond, and create. We are not victims of the body's limitations. We are participants in its potential. Imagine this. In less than a year, 98% of the atoms in your body will be replaced. You are a flowing river of change, a process of renewal. Why, then, do we hold on to outdated beliefs about who we are? Awakening begins when we stop seeing our bodies as burdens to manage and instead as partners in transformation. Chapter 2. Your body has a mind of its own. We often believe that the mind dictates everything, that thoughts are in control, and that the body simply follows orders. But Chopra turns this notion on its head. The mind is not a dictator, and the body is not a servant. They are partners. They are allies. Every thought is translated into a biochemical response. When you are anxious, your body tenses. When you are joyful, your heart expands. The body and mind are in a constant dialogue. This dialogue is the essence of mind-body intelligence, an intelligence that can heal wounds, manage pain, and rejuvenate cells. We are invited to become fluent in this language, to listen when the body speaks, to honor its signals, its whispers, its wisdom. When you are weary, it is not weakness. It is a call to rest. When you are anxious, it is not failure. It is a request for grounding. When you are in pain, it is not punishment. It is a plea for compassion. Learning to listen to the body's wisdom is not just a practice. It is a revolution. Chapter 3. You can change your body by changing your perceptions. If our bodies and minds are intertwined, then the way we think, the way we perceive, becomes the blueprint for our physical form. We are shaped by our perceptions, not just of the world, but of ourselves. If you see your body as flawed, inadequate, or broken, it responds accordingly. It carries the weight of that belief. But what if you could change your perception? What if you could see your body not as a burden, but as a miracle of evolution? What if you could view every cell, every heartbeat, every breath as a gift? Science and spirit align here. The placebo effect is not a trick. It is the body's ability to heal when the mind believes in healing. It is proof that belief is powerful, that perception shapes reality. If you can change the way you see yourself, you can change the way you experience yourself. This is not just theory, this is transformation. Chapter 4: Awareness Heals. Awareness is more than mere observation. It is conscious attention, a state of presence that has the power to heal. To bring awareness to the body is to shine light on the shadows, to see where we hold pain, to observe where we store trauma, to notice where we carry fear. This awareness is not judgment, it is acceptance. It is saying to the body, I see you. I hear you. I honor you. When you bring awareness to pain, it often loses its grip. When you bring awareness to fear, it begins to soften. Awareness is a healer, not because it forces change, but because it allows space for healing to occur. Part 2: Resurrecting the Soul. Chapter 5: The Mystery of the Soul. What is the soul? Is it a whisper in moments of stillness, a glimmer of hope when darkness surrounds us? Is it a voice that calls us to purpose, a presence that aches for connection? Chopra does not define the soul in rigid terms, for the soul defies the constraints of language. Instead, he invites us to experience it, to feel the truth of our own being. The soul is the silent witness to our lives. It is the part of us that watches our thoughts, our actions, and even our deepest emotions without judgment. When we lose sight of this witnessing presence, we become tangled in the surface of life, caught in the storm, disconnected from the stillness beneath. To resurrect the soul is to remember this deep, silent witness. It is to reclaim the part of ourselves that is whole, even when we feel fragmented. It is to understand that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, not merely human beings seeking spiritual experiences. Chapter 6: The Shadow and the Light. We cannot resurrect the soul without facing the shadow, the parts of ourselves that we hide, deny, or reject. The soul does not judge the shadow, it seeks to integrate it. To hide from our darkness is to deny our wholeness. When we embrace the shadow, we allow for healing, for growth, for transformation. Imagine standing before a mirror. If you look only at the light, you see only half of your reflection. If you look only at the shadow, you see a distorted version of yourself. But when you stand with openness, you see the full spectrum, the brilliance of your light, the depth of your darkness, and the wholeness of your being. The journey to the soul is a journey through the shadow. It is a journey of radical honesty, of confronting fears and releasing shame. It is an invitation to forgive yourself and others, to let go of the burdens of guilt and regret that weigh upon the heart. This chapter is a call to embrace all of yourself, not just the parts that shine, but the parts that struggle, not just the joy, but the grief, not just the peace, but the pain. To resurrect the soul, we must embrace our humanity fully. Chapter 7: The Voice of Intuition. Within each of us is a voice that knows. It whispers, it nudges, it guides. This is the voice of intuition, the language of the soul. But how often do we ignore it? How often do we allow the noise of the world to drown out the whispers of our deepest knowing? Intuition is not a random impulse. It is the wisdom of the soul speaking through the heart. It is the gentle tug when we are off course, the sense of clarity when a choice feels right, the shiver of recognition when we encounter something true. To trust this voice is to trust the guidance of the soul. It is to listen deeply, not just with the mind, but with the heart. It is to step into the unknown with faith, to act on the courage that intuition inspires. The more we listen, the louder this voice becomes. The more we trust, the more it leads us toward our highest path. The soul speaks through intuition, and when we learn to hear it, we awaken to a life of greater meaning and purpose. Chapter 8: The Power of Presence. Presence is the gateway to the soul. When we are present, fully awake in this moment, the noise of the mind fades. The worries of the future and regrets of the past dissolve. Presence is not simply awareness, it is sacred awareness. It is the space where the soul resides, beyond thought, beyond fear. When we are present, we touch the essence of who we are. We experience the timelessness of the soul, the part of us that is unchanging, even as the world around us shifts. Chopra calls us to cultivate this presence, to practice stillness, to sit in silence, to breathe deeply and feel the aliveness of our being. Presence is where we connect with the divine within us. It is where we feel the oneness of all things. It is where the soul awakens to itself. Part 3. Creating a New You. Chapter 9. The Power of Intention. What is it that you truly desire? What are the dreams that stir your soul, the visions that light your heart? In this chapter, Chopra introduces the profound concept of intention, not as a fleeting wish or a momentary thought, but as a creative force. Intention is a sacred declaration to the universe. It is the aligning of heart, mind, body, and soul toward a purpose that calls from deep within. But intention alone is not enough. It must be infused with awareness, a conscious connection to the present moment, to the unfolding of life as it is. When we pair intention with awareness, we become powerful creators of our reality. The energy behind your intention matters. If born from fear, intention scatters and fractures. But when rooted in love, in the expansive understanding of who you are, intention becomes a magnet for the highest possibilities. Chapter 10. Living in Alignment. What does it mean to live in alignment with your truest self? To create a new you, you must live a life that reflects your deepest values, your most genuine desires. When our actions contradict our essence, we experience internal conflict, anxiety, restlessness, a sense of being divided against ourselves. Alignment is not perfection, it is integrity. It is the courage to live authentically, to make choices that resonate with the soul's calling rather than the ego's demands. It is the practice of aligning your thoughts, words, and deeds so that there is harmony within you. Chopra challenges us to examine our lives with radical honesty. Where are we out of sync? Where do we compromise our values? Where do we betray our own hearts out of fear, out of a need for approval, out of habit? To create a new you, you must cultivate the courage to be authentic, unapologetically, relentlessly, lovingly authentic. Chapter 11. Healing through Self-Compassion. In this chapter, we explore the healing power of self-compassion. Creating a new you is not about punishing the old or rejecting the past. It is about healing deep, soul-level healing. Self-compassion is the gentle hand you place upon your own shoulder, the voice that speaks kindly to you in moments of failure, the patience you extend to yourself when you stumble. Many of us are far more compassionate toward others than we are toward ourselves. We forgive others' mistakes while condemning our own. We offer understanding to loved ones while criticizing ourselves mercilessly. Chopra encourages us to see ourselves through the eyes of the soul, eyes that do not judge, eyes that see our wounds and our worth in equal measure. Self-compassion is not indulgence. It is a necessary part of growth. Without it, transformation becomes a battle rather than a blossoming. Chapter 12. The Art of Letting Go. To create a new you, there must be a release, a letting go of what no longer serves, of what weighs you down. Chopra teaches that letting go is not about loss but about liberation. Letting go is the release of old identities, outdated beliefs, limiting stories. It is the shedding of guilt, regret, shame, and fear. It is the surrender of the need to control, the need to be right, the need to be seen a certain way. When we cling to the past, we imprison ourselves in a version of ourselves that no longer exists. To create a new you, you must let go of the person you used to be, the person shaped by pain, by trauma, by survival. Letting go is an act of courage. It is trusting that what lies ahead is greater than what lies behind. It is the willingness to step into the unknown and allow life to unfold beyond the bounds of your imagination. Part 4. Living as your true self. Chapter 13. Living beyond limitation. The limitations you perceive, are they real, or are they illusions constructed by fear, doubt, and conditioning? In this chapter, Chopra invites us to question every boundary we believe to be immovable. He reminds us that limits are not inherent, they are learned. They are inherited beliefs, passed down through generations or acquired through past wounds. To live beyond limitation is to recognize the power of choice, the power to unlearn, to rewrite, to transcend. Living beyond limitation does not mean rejecting reality. It means engaging with it as a creator, not a captive. It is the audacity to ask, what if? What if you could be more, do more, experience more than you have ever believed possible? When you stop accepting limitations as unchangeable truths, you step into the realm of infinite possibility. Here, your life becomes a canvas, and you, the artist, are free to create without constraint. Chapter 14. The Dance of Stillness and Action. To live as your true self is to master the balance of being and doing, of stillness and action. Chopra illuminates the art of presence, of being fully alive in the present moment while embracing purposeful action. Many of us believe that fulfillment comes solely through achievement, through constant striving and productivity. Yet true power lies in the union of effort and ease. Stillness is not inactivity, it is the source from which action flows. It is the space between breaths, the pause between thoughts, the silence that speaks of wisdom. When you learn to move from a place of inner stillness, your actions become purposeful, aligned, and potent. There is no longer the frenzy of striving or the exhaustion of seeking approval. You act not to prove, but to express. Not to accumulate, but to create. Chapter 15. Love as a state of being. What would your life be like if love was not something you sought, but something you lived as your default state of being? In this chapter, Chopra expands the understanding of love, not as an emotion dependent on conditions, but as the essence of the soul itself. To live as your true self is to embody love, to radiate it, to receive it, to become it. When love is your natural state, fear diminishes. Comparison ceases. Judgment fades. Love is not limited to romantic connection. It is the energy that binds us to all living things. It is the recognition of yourself in another and the compassion to see their truth, their struggle, their essence. To live from this state of love is to create a world of healing for yourself and for those you encounter. It is the highest frequency, the most powerful force. It transforms not just relationships but reality itself. Chapter 16. Becoming a light of the world. This chapter is a call to live not just for yourself, but as a beacon for others. To live as your true self is not an isolated journey. It is a collective awakening. Chopra challenges us to be lights in a world that often clings to shadows. Your awakening is not meant to be hidden. The truth of who you are, the love, the creativity, the wisdom, is meant to be shared, to inspire, to uplift. As you live authentically, you grant others permission to do the same. You become a mirror of possibility, a voice of courage, a source of hope. This is the ultimate purpose of reinvention, to not only experience the fullness of your own existence, but to illuminate the path for others. When you live as your true self, you become a vessel for the divine, a reflection of the infinite. Conclusion. Esteemed listeners, seekers of truth, and fellow souls on this sacred journey, we have reached the end of a profound exploration, a journey that has stretched the boundaries of perception, shattered the illusions of limitation, and illuminated the essence of what it means to be fully, unapologetically alive. This is not a conclusion. It is a commencement, a birth into a new way of seeing yourself and the world around you. Each page of Deepak Chopra's work has been a call to remember, to awaken, to embrace the miracle of who you truly are. Throughout this odyssey, we have seen that the body is more than a physical form. It is a dynamic, intelligent vessel, capable of healing, evolving, and transforming. We have unearthed the soul, not as an abstract concept, but as the eternal essence that breathes life into every cell, that witnesses every experience. We have embraced the power of intention, the creative force that sculpts our reality, that aligns us with purpose and possibility. And we have learned to live as our truest selves, to shed the masks, to transcend the fears, to embody love itself. But now, beloved listeners, the question remains, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you let it linger as a beautiful idea, or will you dare to live it? Will you allow this wisdom to sink into your bones, to alter the fabric of your days, to shape the way you see yourself and the world? This work, this teaching, is a radical invitation to reinvent your body and resurrect your soul every single day. Each morning is a blank canvas, a new chance to choose wholeness over fragmentation, love over fear, creativity over stagnation. Each moment is an opportunity to ask, am I living from the truth of who I am? Do not shy away from this power. Do not minimize the brilliance of your own light. The world does not need another person hiding in the shadows of self-doubt. It needs the real you, the you who is willing to live from the depth of your soul, to move with grace, to create with intention, to love without fear. And so, as we close, I urge you to take this journey forward, to let it live within you, to let it grow and unfold. Be the living testament of what is possible when the body and soul are in harmony. Be the example of a life lived boldly, authentically, joyfully. When challenges arise, when doubt resurfaces, when the old patterns attempt to reassert themselves, remember this truth. You are not a product of your circumstances. You are a creator of your experience. You are a soul navigating a human journey, an infinite being in a finite world. And as you step forward from this exploration, may you carry the courage to be unapologetically you, to let your true self shine, to live in the fullness of your potential, to be a beacon of love and wisdom for all who cross your path. This is your journey. This is your truth. This is your awakening. Thank you for walking this path with me, for allowing these words to echo in the chambers of your heart. May you go forth as the powerful, radiant, awakened being that you are. Be the light. Be the love. Be the transformation. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries.